Hi everybody. Today I am answering the question from caregivers and people diagnosed with memory loss as to what should we prepare for? How can we prepare? My best response is to do your best to understand the aspects of the diagnosis, what it's like today, how it's likely to progress, and try to predict future needs. Now, predicting future needs can really be a tricky thing because most people who don't have any experience with memory loss have no idea what to expect. The other issue is that one person with memory loss is not like another person, is not like another person, and is not like another person. So one thing that you can do is to meet with a doctor, primary care doctor, neurologist, neuropsychologist, geriatrician, to get a thorough diagnosis and then follow up with that diagnosis, because if you have the basic testing done every 6 months and at a year and 18 months and 2 years, it can give you an idea of the rate that the memory loss might be progressing. And if you go to the extent of doing a neuropsychological evaluation, that can give you a lot more data to talk about which parts of the brain are working better than others. And it can also help with medication management if someone chooses to take medication. Now, I know it's got to be terribly scary to go see a doctor for a diagnosis that you know isn't going to get better. It has to be frightening for that person, because every time you go to a doctor, you want to hear good news. And instead, you may be losing more hope because those scores are going down, and you may be more fearful. But this is why advanced planning and talking about memory loss and dementia in your family and learning everything that can possibly happen, even if it doesn't, can help reduce your worry and anxiety about a diagnosis that really is truly, truly terrible, and it's hard to predict. So stay with me while I give you some questions to think about and a scenario about how this all can work for you. If this is your first time on my channel, I'm Pamela D. Wilson. I'm a caregiving expert, advocate, and speaker who helps adults and their caregivers work through health, financial, legal aspects, caregiving, relationships, and everything in between. You can learn more about me and my professional experience in aging and caregiving and all of this by clicking below. Scroll down. There are links to my website, and you can also schedule a one-to-one consultation with me. Please do like this video, follow my channel, share these and all the other videos here. There are almost 900 now. And please do comment, even if it's only to say thank you. One small little thank you helps these videos reach people throughout the world, and it helps people learn how to navigate caregiving and aging. So my first recommendation for a caregiver of a person with Alzheimer's, or if you are the person with Alzheimer's or dementia or any type of memory loss, it's always to start with the health side of the memory loss. Now, some people that I have known who have memory loss, they've been physically active all their lives. They usually continue to be physically active while their memory loss advances. Now, on the other hand, your loved one may not have been very healthy all of their lives. Maybe they had a lot of health problems. And so it's important to understand what those health problems are in connection with the memory loss, because they can kind of work together. The questions that you want to ask yourself are, where do you want to live? In your home? Do you have the financial means to bring in caregivers or to live in a care community? Who do you want to be your caregiver, and how will you pull all of this together? Because it really is important to know or to have some sense of what you want, how you will receive care, who will be that caregiver in great detail, so that when things happen and when your memory loss progresses, you already have that plan in place. You're not having to say, oh my gosh, This happened. What are we going to do now? That happened. What do we do next? This conversation and this planning aspect is probably the most important thing that many individuals and families don't do enough of. Honestly, because it's scary and there are gaps in information about what's going to happen. And then you have to combine the health aspect and the money aspect and the legal aspect. And it may not be comfortable to discuss any of this, but it's so important. So if you are the person with memory loss, the healthier you are, the less medical care you're likely to need, right? The less you will be going to the doctor, fewer prescriptions, fewer tests, all of that. If you have a lot of health issues and memory loss, that's probably going to involve a lot of doctor appointments. And so when you think about caregiving and what type of care you'll need, it would be somebody to take you to those doctor appointments when you can no longer drive, when you can no longer remember what the doctor is saying to you. And so as you lose more and more of your memory, you will need somebody that you trust to advocate for you and to speak up for you. So in addition to this medical over here, this brings in the legal side over here, which is appointing a medical and a financial power of attorney, maybe doing your will and your trust and your living will. But it has to be somebody that you really, really trust to do what I call the right thing for you. Because as people lose their memory, they become very vulnerable, almost like a young child. And I know no one wants to hear that. But you really need somebody who are going to look after your best interests and do what you want. So that person that you appoint as your legal advocate must understand all these little details. What do you want for your care? Where do you want your care to be provided? Who do you want to be your caregivers? Is there money? And so the only way to do this is to put it down on paper. It's to write it down. It's to type it out with no amount of gaps. Every little detail that you can think of should be spelled out. And while this may seem like a lot of work and a lot of uncertainty, what you want is you want your wishes honored. You don't want your children disagreeing about, well, mom or dad would have wanted this or that. You don't want your children and your spouse having disagreements, because this happens. Memory loss poses so many uncertainties for the future. The more conversations you have today, even though they're uncomfortable, the more planning that you do when you still have your memory and your planning and your problem-solving skills, and the more you're able to tell people what you want and what you don't want, the more peace of mind you will have later, when it will be nearly impossible to imagine not being able to remember who your spouse is, or remember the name of your children, or remember what you just ate for lunch, or who you spoke to on the phone. Memory loss, early memory loss, dementia, Alzheimer's, any type of cognitive impairment, they're very serious and they're very sad diseases. And unfortunately, there is no cure. There's only how the disease will progress from A to Z. So if anyone you know has early memory loss, mid-stage memory loss, and you've not had conversations and you have not planned, I just cannot emphasize enough how important it is to have these conversations and a clear understanding of what the diagnosis is, plans for your daily care, your health care, your caregivers, where you will live, the associated financial and legal matters. Because if you don't, the result can be a lot of family disagreements. It can be that your care is neglected. So any lack of planning, any lack of discussions, the person that suffers is really the person with memory loss, because there was no one who thought enough to commit on paper what this person wanted for care. And if this is you, it's important that you do this. If you are diagnosed with memory loss, there's a whole program on my website, PamelaDWilson.com, How to Care for Aging Parents. There's a module on memory loss. There are very detailed videos here on my YouTube channel. If you go to the search bar and you type in the word dementia or Alzheimer's or power of attorney or planning for care, very detailed videos on how to care for loved ones and to plan for care for yourself. I thank you all so much for being here. Again, please remember to like this video, follow my channel, comment, even if it's only to say thank you. One little thank you goes a long way in helping people throughout the whole wide world find their way here to my channel. Thank you so much. I will see you all again soon in another video.